Are you a manager and you've done those reviews where you got to provide that critical feedback for a team member of yours? Or maybe you're the team member who gets that critical feedback and it's a moment that you dread twice a year or however often your organization focuses on the review process. I know for me, when I was in the career space, it was not a comfortable feeling when people jump in and critique you and tell you what you're doing wrong. And then you're trying to figure out what you did wrong because you thought you were doing well. And they bring up these surprises. It's not an easy time. But I want to remind you of a couple different things. That one, I try to live by that feedback is a gift. Now, one, that mindset is not easy to accept because feedback indicates there's something we need to work on. And depending on where you are at in your journey, you may not be comfortable with getting feedback. But this idea that feedback is a gift helps you understand that one, it is a gift, and two, how you can work through it and how you can also acknowledge what just came in as a gift and receive it. Because in order to be a gift, you actually have to receive it and do something with it. So I want to give you a couple different things that I've learned when it comes to feedback. One, we'll start within the review process. One of the greatest ideas I've heard is a manager creating what they call the no surprises rule. And what that rule is not bringing up anything within that review that they had not known already. So this means that a review is not where you bring someone into your office and tell them what they've been doing wrong for the last 6 months while they didn't know it. It means that you talk about something that you've been continually talking about for the previous 6 months. You see what the difference there is? Because when you talk to someone throughout the process, you're leading them. You're helping them understand where they may be making a misstep and helping them understand how to do it better. And then when you have the review process, you have this whole arching timeline to actually look at and see, did they make progress? Did they understand where they're making missteps? And did they improve? Now let's connect it to fatherhood. Feedback can come in the form of a conversation with your wife. It can come in the conversation with your kids. It can come in the conversation with your teenager. Doesn't really matter. Within family, there is a lot of feedback. Now, one, I want to acknowledge the reality. It doesn't feel like feedback. It often can feel like an attack. It can feel like ammunition to tear you down, especially sometimes if it's coming from a teenager or someone that is just trying to take their stake or the flag and plant it and say, this is where I am. And that can often come as kids try to grow up and find their balance and find their boundaries and solidify, I am an adult. I can go into the world without you, even though they have a lot of lessons to learn that they do need you still. But that feedback can be hard to receive. But the mindset and the journey is still noble and worthy of going through that. Because when we accept that feedback is a gift, we understand that at the end of the day, the most fundamental rule with anything personal development is you are the only variable you can control. That's important enough to repeat one more time. You are the only variable in life that you have 100% control over. You don't have control over your employees, your team members, your company, your kids, your wife, your relationships. In those categories, all you really have is influence. You can say things that influence, but they still are free human beings with free will, and they can still do what they want. Anybody that's had terrible twos or gone through that, any dad listening out there knows exactly what I'm talking about. That dominance, like you can tell your 2-year-old to do something, that does not equate to automatically them doing it. They're trying to exert their freedom and their boundary that at 2 years old, I don't need you, even though they do need you at 2 years old, as we all know. So think about the idea of feedback as when you get feedback, it's a reminder that this is actually information that I can do something with. Because a lot of the men that I work with, we often feel like we're stuck. We don't know where to go next. But within that context of not knowing where to go next, they haven't really done a good job at analyzing what feedback has come to you into the world. What feedback has come back from the universe of how you are showing up in the universe. The universe is always giving you feedback. Positive or negative, it's always giving you feedback. And oftentimes, it's a reflection of what you put into the universe. You put out negative energy, that's often what's going to be reflected back. So within the feedback that is coming towards you, I want you to truly look at and ask the question, what was I reflecting outward? What was I projecting into the world leading up to that moment or leading up to maybe my life? Maybe this is how I've been doing my life all my life. Think about what have I consistently been projecting that is coming back in this feedback? Because oftentimes feedback isn't worded in the right way for us to hear, because sometimes it's worded to almost set us up as a trigger or like a fight sometimes. But I want to remind you that within those words is a reflection of what you put into the world. And if you can pause, calm down, take a few deep breaths, and realize what feedback is coming into my life is a gift, because now I have something to work with. And if I have something to work with, I can see through it. I can understand what it's doing for me and how I'm showing up in my life on a daily basis. So when you do get feedback, acknowledge it, show some gratitude, because I truly do believe feedback is a gift. It is a skill and a muscle that you have to exercise daily in order to truly receive it as a gift, but it is noble, it is worthy, and it will help you on your journey to come home as a dad. And I'll be back again with you tomorrow.